Two.
Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the Bobbi Jo and Sheena show. Today we are going to talk about a book club I'm starting today. It was a book written in the 1950s called Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. And this is all about the self-image. He was a plastic surgeon who noticed that people he worked on, say we had a big funny nose, and then some people, their whole identity changed for the better, and others, even though they had a completely new face because of the nose, they didn't change. And it all stems from the beliefs about ourselves and our self image. And it goes pretty deep, but we're just going to talk a little bit about self image today. Sheena, what do you want to say?
Well, it's one of the biggest things, to be honest. It's not like people want to manifest things and you want this and you want that and you want the other, but you're not actually prepared. You want the world to change, but you're not prepared to change inside. And that was one of the biggest things that I thought, well, I am changing because I'm learning all this. But what it was really the concept of who I am. The concept of who I am, because if I can get that right, then everything else will fall into place because I will only act and behave as that person. Whereas if I think, I mean, my example is, whenever I was 19 and I went to the RAF and I did an IQ test and it came out at 140. And they said, right, you're straight in for officer training. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I came here as an admin job. And I was so embarrassed. I thought they'd got the wrong person. I didn't know what they were talking about. And I left and I never answered another email because my mum told me that I was a secretary. And she told me that from a very young age that I didn't have brains and that I wasn't academic. And there was no point in me even going off to university. So I will just be a secretary. I mean, for all the secretaries listening to this, you needed the qualifications to be a secretary too. You know what I mean? Which I think my mum forgot. But so yeah, that's where, so if my self-image had been like, oh, I'm an officer material, then I would have taken a different path. So what's your self-image saying about you? Who do you think you're being? What's the concept of who you are?
But you know what, Sheena? You know what? Everything happens in divine order. If you were supposed to be there, you would have went there. You know what I mean? So it
Oh,
all
there was
unfolds.
another version of
I'm
me
just
who
saying
also
this.
went and did that.
I know. I'm just saying this for others that are listening. Like, don't beat yourself up if you think that because that you're not always aware of, and it might not even be apparent for another decade. But Steve Jobs had a great quote, just saying, looking back, you could connect the dots, but looking forward, you didn't understand what was happening and why this happened to me and why and what. But the self-image, you were saying there's three things. Earlier? What were the three things?
Well, I think it's just like in this life, I mean, there's all these study programs that you need to do, but there's three things I think you need to know is number one, who are you? And I mean, really, 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 who are you? Because that's the start of everything. But then who are you being? Who are you being as you're going through the day? And what do you
Mhm.
want? And when
Mm.
you've got all those three things aligned, then that for me is whenever you're in flow.
That's what I have my clients do. And it's saying, finish these statements. I used to be a person who, and you write a whole page or two about it, who you used to be. And then I am a person now who are you now? What are you doing? And then I want to be a person who. But then that you got to take that want away and already just be that person. Because if
Mm.
you're always thinking it's going to be, oh, I want to be her, I'll be this, it's like it's always going to be something in the future. You have to start pretending, but it gives you identity of what it is that you truly want. Because this is a problem that I always have with my clients. They know what they don't want, but they have a really hard time articulating what they do want. And I just find that a really weird way that our brain works, the way the programming has been since the childhood. We've said this before, but from 0 to 7, it's no conscious mind. It's a subconscious is wide open. So your environment is dictating to you your belief system. So it depends on your parents and your grandparents and everything that they've put upon you. And that's that belief. So I know in this chapter that they're starting to go with remember something in your childhood that you really thought you did well or excited. And they're like, tap into that feeling to override all the negative ones. And it's saying, yeah, the method itself consists in learning, practicing, and experiencing new habits of thinking, imagining, remembering, and acting in order to one, develop the adequate and a realistic self image, and to two, to use your creative mechanism to bring success and happiness in achieving particular goals. So it's just learning to condition the program in the subconscious mind and the mind, because we operate 96% of the day by the subconscious. You're just an autopilot. So it's having the awareness of what we're really thinking and bringing the clarity in, because you can have anything you want. And it is not you can say all the positive affirmations in the world, my love, but until you really can believe that, nothing will ever change. So start taking a look at yourself, start going a little bit deeper, go over those questions. And that's about it for me today, Sheena. You have anything else in closing?
Well, I did the questions that way. So who are you? Who are you being? And what do you
Yeah.
want? But I love actually how really what Bob Proctor's teaching brought me was he started off with what do you want? Because then that begged the question to me, well, who is the person that has that? Is that the person I want to be? Is that, because we all have these, ideas as to what it should be. But then actually the last thing that came to me was really who I really am. So start off with that, think of something. And I think that's where the growth is. It sort of comes back full circle. So then you want maybe something different. And then the concept of yourself changes. I mean, I think we've changed over the past 5 years,
Yeah.
different concepts of who we think we are. And
Yeah.
so just play with it. Just as Bobbi Jo said, she used that word imagine. Just say to yourself, imagine imagine if I had that, who would I be? Do I like that
Mm.
idea? Is that something nice? Bob Proctor actually used to say, look, take bits of different people and almost put it together, but actually,
Yes.
I think you find out actually whenever you start really looking at yourself and what you truly, truly, truly want, that the you just comes through anyway, blooming where you stand. So,
Mm.
yeah, that's all from me today. Bloom where you stand.
Always. That's always saying. And then the one thing I just want to say, there's a little hook there. Sometimes we think we want, like when we first started in this journey, we wanted different things than we want now. They might have always been there, but we were so focused on what everyone else was doing that we're like, oh, we want that too. And so you got to watch that rat race, because you've been conditioned in the mind over and over. I don't know about over in Europe, but in the commercials here, you see enough things a million times. I mean, there's data on that. You see something like the salespeople know that. You talk to them 8 to 10 times before they'll finally get a yes. So if you just keep hammering away, this is what you want, this is what you want, this is what you want, you're like, yeah, this is what I want. No, it's not. So go deep, baby. Start pulling out what is it you really love about you, and just start blooming where you are. And we'll see you soon.
Bloom where you stand. See you now.